Welcome to Truth Seekers. I'd like to share a few thoughts on what is happening in South Africa at the moment with the riots and the vandalism, the looting that we see. The question we need to ask ourselves is, who is behind it all? Who is orchestrating and coordinating these events? Or is there such a thing as a coordination? Is this just happenstance? Is this just human nature that we see unfolding before us? Is the looting all about greed of humanity? Well, I believe there is a coordination. It's more than just poor people looking for food and appliances. It's far more than that. So although these acts of violence and vandalism are being performed by underprivileged people, the disadvantaged of South Africa, even though it's performed by them, the real coordinators and orchestrators of these events are being performed by various parties. One of them, I would say, is factions within our own government. The government is definitely involved, but it goes higher than our government. The real instigators of the destruction of South Africa is done by the global elite, or the Davos class billionaire. What we are witnessing is simply the United Nations Agenda 2021 and 2030 being implemented. This agenda is not only being implemented here in South Africa, but across the whole world. The whole idea is to destroy small business, destroy businesses, to impoverish people, with the goal in mind to make people more dependent not only on their governments, but also on the one world government that is to come in the future. The goal of the World Economic Forum is to take property and ownership away from people. Their slogan, "You will own nothing and be happy" policy. It's not only the riots, but also the whole COVID-19 phenomenon. Both of these events are being used to impoverish people. The lockdowns are there to destroy business, destroy infrastructure, destroy the middle class. And both of these things are doing that. The looting is doing that, as well as COVID-19. The two work hand in hand. So both the COVID-19 false pandemic agenda, as well as the riots in South Africa, and the de-establishment of the government, all serve the same purpose: to bring about the destruction of the livelihood of the middle class, not just here in South Africa, but throughout the whole world. The looting is coordinated. It's not just poverty-stricken people stealing food and appliances. It's not random. It's not happenstance. It's not coincidental. These acts of vandalism are both surgical and are performed simultaneously everywhere in South Africa. All the shopping malls have been targeted. It's almost as if they've been instructed in force to do what they are doing. It's not just people doing it out of their own. They have been controlled somehow to do this. Everywhere in South Africa, it is highly targeted. And the purpose is to destroy. What they are destroying is specifically the storehouses and the depots, places where food is being stored. These places are targeted, are destroyed, are burnt. Together with the storehouses, it's the trucks, the transportation, distribution of food. They also are targeted, destroyed, and burnt. The food equipment and appliances that are being stolen are also being stored in the townships. These people steal the food and they take it back to the townships to store it in the townships. These acts are not so much targeted at black people as what it is targeted at white people. They want to take food away from white people, according to some of the rioters that were interviewed. The powers that be, the cabal, the elite, are simply using the volatile situation in South Africa, the extreme unemployment, the extreme poverty that we see in our country, and they are using it to their own advantage. They are using the problem of unemployment and poverty in South Africa as an instrument of convenience to bring about the destruction of South Africa. At the end, the very poor people and the rich people, all peoples of South Africa, but the very people that are performing these actions of violence and looting, they themselves are going to suffer. And so it is a no-win situation for everybody. Everybody loses in the end. The violence and the looting will also continue. It's not going to end soon. The government is also involved, and that is why we see the police and the military not doing anything. There seems to be a passivity in the police and military, allowing these things to go on without stopping it. The police and military could very well stop the riots, but the government, because it's being pressurized by outside forces, allow the situation to continue. This is all coming from the New World Order. Our government is implementing the wishes of the elite. All this upheaval that we are seeing is all part of the same global agenda. It is part of the Great Reset to bring a new way of life into the world. A new way of life where our freedoms, our sovereignties, our dignities are removed. We are definitely heading towards an Orwellian, dystopian way of life in the future. On a more practical note, it's advisable to stock up on food at this time, if you can. At least 3 months. Try to stock up enough food that you and your family can survive for 3 months. Foods that you should concentrate on purchasing is, of course, tinned foods, pasta, rice, mealie meal, and especially water. Water is very important. Also, petrol. Petrol is running out because of the dangers to the trucks on the highways. The trucks are not being sent out from the petrol depots. And so petrol is also running out. If you can, fill up with petrol, keep your tank full, and also try to get containers. I bought a container at Midas, a 20-litre metal container to store petrol. So do what you can to store as much as you can. So just a word of encouragement, stay safe. Don't travel too much, stay indoors, and let's see what happens.